Hi, my name's Nick with Machine Gun Dad. Welcome back to the channel. Today on our episode of this field trip series, we have a third generation Smith & Wesson model 4506. Now this field strip will apply to pretty much all of the third generation Smith & Wessons except for the ones that have double recoil springs, which we're going to be doing a video on that at some point, probably pretty soon, so you'll get to see the finickiness of the double recoil springs. But enough yapping, let's go ahead and take her apart. We've moved in close, and to begin our field strip, as always, push the magazine release. Magazine comes out. Reveal the slide. There's nothing in the chamber, so let's begin. On this particular gun, easiest way I find to do it is to wrap your thumb around the beaver tail on the back, get a nice grip right around the sights, and you're going to pull on the slide back until you'll see this notch in the slide. You want to line that up with the part of the slide lock furthest towards the muzzle, and then on the other side you'll see this button that you can depress with, say, a pen if you don't have the fingernails for it. But pull that back, push that button in. So just like so, and the entire slide lock will come out. You will notice this gun is very dirty. That is because we are in the process of cleaning it. We have a lot of supplies around here, so we figured while we're taking it apart, we might as well clean it. Make sure to keep a nice grip on the slide, because this is a really long recoil spring in it. Try and like curl around it and get a hold of that, because if it's an older gun and the notch that the recoil spring sits in is worn, then you're gonna have it flying out everywhere. So try and maintain a good grip on it and keeping a captive hand around that spring. Then grab onto the spring, pull back, get it off that notch, and off it comes. Take the lock, push the barrel forward, pick up, and pull out. And that's it, fully disassembled. So let's go ahead and get back into reassembly. First part of reassembly, obviously, put the barrel back in. So exact opposite of what we just did. Take a barrel, angle it, slide it in, it'll drop down, push it to the back. You'll see the notch that I was talking about right there, just barely, right on the front end of that lock. That will lock into this little nipple on the front end of the recoil spring guide rod. You could probably just barely see it, but there's a little bit of rounding happening right on the edge of that. That's where you're going to be losing purchase on that notch. So if you can see where it's a little banged up on, get that away from the notch to get yourself good purchase so your recoil spring isn't flying out of the gun when you go to put it back together. But just to be safe, try and keep good purchase on it when it goes in to make sure you don't end up flying it out of the gun. So I'm going to take your recoil spring, line it up with the hole, run it in, keep a nice firm grip on it, run it all the way back, get it on that notch, keeping a good grip on it, making sure it doesn't fly. It is on the notch, and the banged up end is facing towards the sky, so it's got good purchase. I do like to keep finger tension on it just in case it does have another rounded spot so it doesn't fly off when I'm putting it back together. Now this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. You're going to take your slide, line it up with the guides, and run it most of the way back. You'll notice it's getting stopped by the extractor. Push that down, run it back a little bit to hold that down. Then there are two more here that you need to push down. This can get a bit complicated, so you can push the first one down, have the slide rest on that, but if you've got wide fingers, trying to get it in there to keep the second one down that's right behind it can be a little more complicated. So we're going to use the back end of a pen because I have big fingers. Run it back, push that just barely enough down, and you saw that it cleared. Now, getting the slide to stay in position is the same thing we did to take it off. You're going to take the slide lock, line it up with this cutout, pop this through, make sure it's firmly seated. So, pulling it back to that notch, taking the slide lock, making sure that this little ridge is facing up and this pin is facing towards the rear. Push it into the hole, all the way down. See how the pin isn't in yet? Now she's locked in. Let it ride forward. A little bit of a function test to make sure you got it all in correctly. And that's it, fully reassembled. And there is our field strip of a good old Smith & Wesson 4506. Thanks for coming to the channel. Thanks for sticking around for our field strip. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Rumble because we do have a few really cool things going up on there. Thanks again.